need to share the screen also. Okay, I can't share my screen. Should I just talk about the things that I pasted in the doc?
I'll share the screen. Okay. Is it visible?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. That's right.
Yeah, so I just added this item. I think this was done with the goal of just accumulating a list of any ongoing issues, maybe some new ones that we have noticed this year while we were doing some reviews or we were doing releases for sub projects, and we have found out some common pain points, some uh, long unaddressed things that we should pay attention to. Maybe some of these don't even make sense; they're not really necessary. But just wanted to get this list started. So we can just go through the items one by one, I guess. So for KK, for example, for the metric stuff, we know that there's a bunch of metrics waiting for graduation, right? Like what is the plan for metric graduation? Uh, and then there is also a bunch of deprecated metrics, which eventually, which I think ideally should be deleted in the very next release when the deprecation, or according to the metrics stability cycle, whenever the grace window passes based on the metric stability level, they should be deleted after that. So I don't think we are enforcing it today. Should we be doing that? Uh, thoughts on this first?
Maybe we should write because like in the past we used to remove them manually, but
Oh, we did.
we
Okay.
forget about it. Yeah. But like right now, the ones that we deprecated are kind of dead code in the code base. So maybe we need to write a tool to catch them and yeah, make sure that we run this tool every release, similar to when we regenerate the doc,
Yeah.
that we can make sure that the list or like that we clean up any metrics that needs to be removed.
Yeah, it'd be cool if we had some way to like run it after every release and generate a bunch of issues or something like that.
We
That way
have
we
a
could.
we have a script that generates a list of all the stable metrics, right? Can we just
Mhm.
enhance that script to do something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can probably tweak it and add a new option to catch the metrics that are deprecated, hidden, or removed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
Okay.
there are other like Kubernetes SIGs that are automatically generating issues or anything like that. Like ideally, we wouldn't have to go open all the PRs to remove stuff, and it would be like we would be able to assign the SIGs, being like, "Hey, this has been in alpha for 3 releases. Please move it to beta or consider deprecating it," something like that.
But the
Deprecate it or
metrics
move
don't
it to
have,
internal. Yeah.
do the metrics have owners like that, which have like SIGs, which we can reach out to?
I mean, they live in files that are owned by someone.
Yeah. Like we can do the update
Yeah.
ourselves and just ping or maybe a top level approver for that. Like if it spans too many files across too many SIGs, instead of like trying to find all the approvers, maybe we can just ping a top level approver for that.
Right. It's like there are code owners. So for any like given metric definition, there's a list of people who, in theory, own the thing.
Since like the metrics themselves like are not present anymore, like they should be removed based on our deprecation policy, I think it's fine for us to do the change.
Yep.
But I don't know how to create issues automatically. Like if there is a way to add scripts to the bots and say that the bot need to run that script periodically.
Yeah.
And I honestly have no clue how that works.
Maybe I can try to spend some time. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Comment.
Did we consider metrics that are kind of like an inter-team effort, intra-sig effort, more like? So if someone from apps adds a metric to API server, who is tasked with updating that?
The metric.
Yeah, so if it's deprecated or if it needs to move to another stability level, essentially who gets pinged on the
The
issue?
issue is mainly about all the historical metrics that we have, because the new metrics tend to be tied to features nowadays. So the metrics graduation would kind of align with feature graduation after some, like maybe a 1 or 2 release delay. So I think nowadays it's like the feature person, like the person responsible for the feature that is also responsible for the metric. But for all the old metrics, it's kind of a gray area where each SIG kind of, or each component owner owns their own metric.
I was wondering, like, if so, this wouldn't be a breaking change, but if we could extend the API to include the owning SIG, like we do for, say, deprecated version and stuff like that, and it would essentially evolve to be more automated in the future. So these tools can leverage, and when they are creating issues, they would ping exactly, um, you know, the SIG that introduced those metrics. But again, it's a safe assumption to just assign it to the metric, I mean, where it's being written. So API server would be fine, and those folks could just move this to whoever introduced this. But yeah, I think there's a couple of options that we could explore. Not sure.
Maybe we need like a doc just talking about all of these different options, and then maybe we can go from there. I can try to compile a list of all the things. Also find if like other SIGs are doing
Yeah,
automated.
maybe
issue.
that's initiative. Oh, you go ahead.
What is that?
I was going to say you could also just open an issue. We can
Yeah. Okay.
track
Let's
it
do
and
that.
discuss it there.
Great.
That discussion could maybe also help with the metric graduation problem that was mentioned above. Like if we clearly identify the metrics owner and convince them that they need to update their metrics, maybe that could also align to some extent at least.
You mean have some sort of time window?
No, more like if the effort to remove hidden metrics, like if we target specific SIGs or like assign specific metric removal to SIGs, maybe we can do the same for like
I see.
metric review in general. So
Okay.
that like, I don't know, like every release, each SIG need to go through their metrics, make
Yeah.
sure they still make sense and make decision for each of those, like whether it's graduation, whether like, I don't know, but like we might be able to create a new process related to graduation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we could just give them a list of all the metrics. For example, the list of all the hidden metrics, which we know that there is definitely attention needed for. And then it's on the metric owners to decide when to delete, what to do with them. Similarly, something similar for alpha, beta metrics, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if our contribution docs have anything, but we should also like come up with whatever the policy is. Like, try not to leave a metric in alpha for more than X releases, or
Exactly.
if it's tied to an enhancement that is also stuck in alpha, maybe that makes sense. But we just want to try and prevent metrics from becoming de facto stable while still being technically alpha. Because then like people will technically be allowed to break them, but really it'll hurt users. So
We could, I think, have a pre-release workflow of sorts to just, I mean, if it's going to expire, going to violate the expected window in the next release, we kind of do a hard ping on the owner. And of course, they could, maybe from the API, we would give them a chance to ignore this for a while. So um, if it's in beta, I think API machine we devise a certain window there as well in order for in order for the kip to not go into perma beta. So we could add, let's say, 2 more releases on top of what we do for beta, and then we could start pinging them again. So yeah.
API machinery, does it do some automation for detecting like long-standing beta features? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
No.
But it would be interesting if we could tie metrics to particular keps and then just have like automation that's like, hey, you moved your kep to beta but forgot your metric.
Yeah, that's actually doable because keps are
Recommendation as well, because yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Pancho.
no, I just think keps are, these are all structured, so we should be able to get that easily.
Mhm.
Discussion we had before, but I don't think we settled on a particular recommendation, was that we wanted the metric to be delayed a bit in terms of graduation compared to the cap, so that they can have more feedback from the users. So let's say if you expect users to start using a feature only when it's beta, because that's when it's getting a bit more stable and refined, then it doesn't make sense to graduate the metrics right away to beta, because once it reaches beta, you cannot modify them anymore. So like leaving 1 or 2 releases as alpha just to make sure that people have time to experiment with the feature kind of makes sense as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we could use keps as the source of truth. And as far as kep graduation is concerned, we, as SIG Instrumentation, would not try to solve that. It would be, API machinery, so that kind of bounds the scope of this problem. And then if someone has something in, let's say, beta for more than, or let's say 5 releases, right? We just allow that out of the box, right? Because the fact that that beta cap has not moved to stable is an API machinery issue, I believe. So that's something that they would be, I guess, it would make sense for them to have an automation on. And we could use the kept, like the kept stages as a validation for, do we ping the owners or not? Do we create an issue or do we comment on an already existing issue or not? Essentially the hard ping.
So for API machinery, it's only related to APIs. So if they have an API, they make sure that it doesn't stale in alpha, but not all caps introduce APIs. And then it's up to the SIG involved to make sure that this cap moves to like beta and so on. So we don't have like a correct and easy to use value to base ourselves on, because at the end it's always like dependent on the SIG.
Also,
Yes.
not all metrics are behind by keps, right? Are
No,
behind keps, right?
Right.
Right.
especially the old ones.
Yeah. So it'll be hard to, I think.
So if it's linked to a kip, then that would kind of validate it to have an extended window. But if it's not
Yeah,
linked
that's
to a
what I was
kip,
thinking.
then yeah.
Like we just want to avoid pinging people for metrics about features that aren't ready for them to be promoted. Like we just don't want to spam people.
Also, the perma beta thing, sorry, it wasn't API machinery, it was architecture. But sorry if I'm missing something, but shouldn't architecture, SIG architecture, have like an automation in place to kind of detect any, perma beta caps that are under any other SIG? Like if they are just not respecting that window and it's just in perma beta. Because that
They
would be the logic that we base our validation on.
haven't been following SIG architecture and what they've been up to.
I
So
don't
it's
think they
very
do. Because I was working on an API machinery feature, which is using a beta feature, and that beta feature has been in beta for I don't know how many years now. I
I'm
didn't
pretty
see any.
sure we have
Yeah,
some event caps that have been out there for a while.
yeah. Maybe anyway. I think we can
Stable
start.
now, but
Go ahead,
yeah.
David.
No, I was saying like for the case of the events, like we were pinged. I don't think by API machinery, but we looked at it a bunch of time ourselves, and that's when we decided to graduate it to stable because most of it was done as per the initial criterias. But yeah, I haven't seen anything in the caps themselves that tells people like besides the doc person that verified that everything is correct.
Mm-hmm.
And each SIG being responsible for their own cap, I don't think I've seen any scripts and like
Yeah,
enforcing caps graduation.
yeah, same. I'm also thinking maybe if we try to propose the metric graduation stuff tied to caps like that, it might become hard to justify like the value of it. What will ultimately happen if a metric is stuck in alpha or beta for a long time? If maybe if we can like showing the value for removing the hidden metrics is like it would automatically make sense for everyone, I think. So maybe we can start from there. People get used to that flow, and then eventually we move on to expanding whatever solution we have put in place for the removal of hidden metrics to also nudge people for, okay, by the way, this is an alpha metric which has been in alpha for a while. Maybe you also want to look at this.
Yeah, I mean, like the motivation is the same as the motivation for introducing stability in the first place, which is Kubernetes had oodles and oodles of metrics with relatively unknown stability, and so it was really hard to determine if it was okay to break them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And like we instituted the metric stability thing to try and give people a better signal, but if everything sits in alpha, which is probably like what most of our metrics are, then
Yeah,
like we're kind of still in that state for the majority of the code base. So it's like it's not urgent or anything. I agree we should start simple and get our tooling in place. And I think it sounds like we really need to think about the actual policy that we want
yeah.
before we start getting into like scripts and tooling and other things like that.
Okay, I can start an issue at least, and we can carry the discussion forward there. We're at time also, so I don't think we have time to go through the other issues. Maybe we just punt them for the next
Yep, sounds
meeting.
good. All right, thanks everyone.
Yeah, thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
thank
Bye.
you.